I'm curious because I am open to the idea.
Well, what do you? It's tough with big federal departments like that because everybody kind of has their own idea of how they work. My mom was a special ed teacher for my whole life, and my girlfriend's a teacher. She started in special ed, so I've been around these, charlatans and parasites my whole life, hearing
Teachers.
their teachers.
Okay.
So I know what I'm wise to their
their type, right?
Yeah, I know what they're doing. No, I think however you're educating kids, you can do it in this state. You don't need a bunch of bureaucrats. You don't even need like the people that are fucking things up and wasting money are even local superintendents, like local school boards. Even locally, the most immediate superiors are taking way too much money and not doing anything. So you multiply that by several orders of magnitude when you put those same type of people thousands of miles away.
Part of me is a little worried that you remove education stuff. Like education sounds good on the surface, but the federal government doesn't do education. I've always used it as one of my federal hallmarks. Like if a guy running for a federal office tells you he's doing something about education, now I know he's lying to me. Now I know that he's not telling the truth because the federal.
Interesting.
It's like me telling what I don't know. I was using an analogy that you don't need, but if he's focused on education as a president or a federal person, he's lying because that's not part of that job. So getting rid of the Department of Education, well, just tell me what they do, and I'm having a hard time.
Well, it's like teachers, like the way kids are taught. A teacher who is 25 to 45 sits at night, comes up with what she's going to teach that worked last year. And she knows the kids she's teaching it to. She knows their parents. It's all about teachers like cultivate these relationships with kids and the parents to help the kids learn in a way that's good for them. Like acting like there's anything that could influence this beyond giving the teachers more time to prepare themselves and help other younger teachers like learn how to connect with students is kind of like not understanding what the process is. It's not an engine or a computer. You can't like industrialize it. It's always just going to be women working with kids and help like learning together, honestly, because a lot of the women don't know shit either from year to year. You know?
I'm in my head. I'm like, if they got rid of the Department of Education and put out an advertising blitz telling parents to make sure their kids did their homework, that might do more.
Yeah.
Than education did.
Yeah.
Hey, it's 10 p.m. Did your kids finish their homework today? But that's a reference you guys probably won't get.
Oh, I remember those were on TV. It'd be like, it's 11
where
p.m.
Your kids?
Do you know where your children are?
Yeah. And a lot of the federal stuff, like No Child Left Behind, they've been doing like an iteration of that every decade since the 70s. And it means the same teachers have to care for kids who are not benefiting at all from this, so that like really exceptionally slow kids who would do better in their own environment, like they're not going to do if you're teaching a bunch of kids, you got to get kids who are kind of at the same level. That's just like that's how it works. It's just one person helping them. So getting the feds out of it,
the mainstream is really hard.
Yeah,
as a parent, you might want to hear that your kid should be mainstream. Like, oh, yeah, all right. Your kid's a little slow, but it's not so bad that we have to put him in that special class. On the other hand, maybe he doesn't belong in that other class. He'd do better in the special one. It's a tricky decision and filled with emotion.
You got a branding issue. So you don't want to call it mainstream. You want to be like, do you want your son in the super elite classes? That's normal. Super elite is normal, right? That's like where we want you to.
We're gonna name them like condoms.
So we have to name them like those
large,
things.
Extra large, and mega.
Isn't that
Magnum.
what the astronauts did? Because they had like pee sleeves to go to space, because you have to pee into like a condom basically, and then it goes down a tube. And like they're like, all right, these are in small, medium, and large, and like they were constantly falling off of astronauts because they're all like large, brother, and so they renamed them to like large. Immense, catastrophic. So then they
large 1, large 2, and large 3. Yeah.
Use only. So I think that's part of the problem too, because no one, if normal is, hey, do you want you want Billy Bob to be in the super advanced class because that's usually for, surgeons and astronauts. Nah, you don't need to be no astronaut or nothing. What's a normal class? Normal class is special ed. That's this one here with these fine fellows with the crayons. Oh, he'd love that. He colors a mess up on the walls at home. All right. And you put it in there. And then I think it's a branding problem. I mean, I don't know about eliminating the Department of Education, though, because I don't know all the things they do. I thought that they funded all of the school systems in some way or another. But
they kick some money back, but with their money, it's just like the highway system, right?
All right. So question, how much federal money will be freed up by literally hitting the delete key on the Department of Education? How much federal funds are now freed up?
I think it's like 3,000 a kid.
Now be given to the parents, and for each kid. Like, all right, we've got $400 million, $1 billion, whatever it is. Like, everybody's going to get that money, right? If you're a parent for each kid. Is that the idea?
Yeah, they don't really say. I think the feds send down like $3,000 a kid out of like they usually get 20. Like I think across America we spend like 20 grand per kid, and maybe the feds give I have 3,000 of that.
224 billion a year. So
oh my,
per kid doesn't mean much to me. I don't know how to convert that.
Yeah,
but the Department of Education's budget is 224 billion, and of course that gets kicked down to schools, as Dick was saying, if they follow the rules, like transportation does too.
Yeah,
and the rules are all like, let's establish a new bureaucracy to make sure we're fitting in with the Fed's rules. When in reality, like property tax goes to pay schools, and I mean, if you work at it from like the bottom up, like okay, I'm paying this much property tax, which sucks, but even in LA, it's like I'm okay. Honestly, I'm okay with this tax. That's fine if we gotta pay for schools. I think they'll do a much better job of handling it, and that teachers will get more money. To be honest,
have you seen like the graphs since it's like the mid 70s, early 80s, where it shows like the amount of employed teachers versus the amount of employed administrators in the education system? It's like teachers stay relatively stable because they're going up a little bit because population increases, but nothing wild. Meanwhile, the administrative part of it has skyrocketed, and so a lot of getting rid of this is going to be eliminating administrative positions. The same goes for healthcare. If you look at like the actual amount of nurses and doctors, it goes up slowly based on population increase, but the amount of hospital administrative, and talk to any nurse, like and they'll be like, yeah, we're over administrated. Like there's 10 people in charge of every department, and we have to go get checks with all these people, and all they really do is oversee us in a way that we don't really need. Like we can do our job. We're the professionals.
Every doctor I know says something similar but different, which is like, more of my job and my management than you'd expect goes towards administrative and getting health insurance companies to actually pay than medicine.
Yeah, it's not an efficient use of their time. And so
Taylor, have you seen the chart where it's also nurses' weight is also going up? I think it's even higher than those.
That's the real tragedy.
I would believe that.
Isn't that crazy?
That's horrible. That's what we need RFK on.
These are our nation's sponge bath givers. We need them fit.
100%. Yeah. If RFK like had a program where it's like, all right, we're here for nurses, teachers, and librarians. Nurses, librarians, and teachers to try it. I hate doing this. I'm not going to.
It's going to be RFK's big top. He's going to come in with a circus in every town and find the fattest nurse teacher and whip them around. Yeah.
We're bringing America back.
He's going to make him wear that whale head. Here you go. Walk around town with that whale head, you fat bitch.